Welcome to LL English, channel that covers labor laws and finance for salaried employees. Employees Provident Fund, or PF in short, is the biggest statutory deduction from your salary. But sadly, most of the employees and even sometimes employers do not know much about it.
But I know everything.
Acha, so tell me, which component of your PF contribution doesn't get any interest? If your salary is above 15,000, can you opt out of PF? What is Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme? Well, don't worry. By the end of this video, you will have answers to all these questions. In this video, I will talk about what is EPF Act, 3 schemes under EPF Act, is PF beneficial for employees and employers, on which companies PF Act is applicable, and finally, eligibility criteria for employees. Towards end of this video, I'll share few relatively unknown PF rules that can derail your retirement planning.
And who are you, by the way?
Hi, my name is Rishabh Jain. I'm your labor law decoder. I'm third generation labor law consultant. We consult 500 plus companies and over 50,000 employees. So not bragging, but that means I have solution to most of your PF problems. So if you are a PF member or an HR or an accounts professional, subscribe to LL English and also hit that bell icon so that you can get notification of all our future videos. So once upon a time in 1952, our that time socialist government enacted an act with a very cool name, Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952. Maybe not that cool. Anyways, the agenda was simple, to provide social security cover to salaried private employees. They created an organization with equally creative name, Employee Provident Fund Organization, EPFO. And to supervise it, they formed a central board of trustees under the chairmanship of Central Labour Minister, right now Mr. Santosh Gangwar. Today, EPFO manages corpus of more than 4.5 crore employees. In total, rupees 10 lakh crore. That's a lot of money.
धंधा फर्स्ट क्लास चल रहा है, टकाटक चल रहा है और नोटों की तो बारिश हो रही है.
That's like half the national GDP of Pakistan.
ओ भाई मारो मुझे मारो.
This makes EPF one of the largest social security schemes of the world.
I can't understand. Is Pakistan so small or EPF so big?
Schemes under PF Act. PF component that reflects in your salary slip does not go into a single account. Probably you are not aware of this, but there are 3 separate schemes under PF Act.
What are these 3 schemes?
अरे बता रहा हूँ ना. First one is called Employee Provident Fund Scheme 1952 or EPF. In common lingo, whenever we say PF, it is generally referred to EPF scheme only. EPF's purpose is to promote compulsory savings that can be used at time of unemployment or at retirement. Second scheme is Employee Pension Scheme or EPS. It replaced an earlier scheme called Family Pension Scheme. EPS provides pension to employees post-retirement or in case of permanent disablement. It also provides pension to dependent family member in case of death of employee or pensioner. The last and the least known scheme is called Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme 1976 or EDLI. EDLI provides lump sum term insurance cover to PF member. All PF members are eligible for EPF and EDLI, but EPS has few exceptions which we will cover towards the end of this video. Benefits. अभी तो कहानी शुरू हुई है. All these schemes have their own rules and regulations. Employee Provident Fund Scheme, EPF or PF, holds a retirement corpus for employees. This accumulated amount fetches very good interest rates as well. Rates have been 8 to 9% in last decade. But that's not all. Under EPF, the principal as well as interest is tax-free. A taxpayer can get 80C deduction on PF contribution. That means no tax up to 1.5 lakh plus no tax on interest. If I compare this to Public Provident Fund Scheme or PPF, EPF not only has slightly better interest rate but also has much more flexibility. In PPF, amount is blocked for 15 years, whereas in EPF, members can withdraw full amount after just 2 months of unemployment. Members can also get advance for variety of reasons like illness, house construction, education, or even pandemic like COVID.
What about EPS and EDLI?
Employees Pension Scheme or EPS. EPS provide an opportunity to private employees of our country to earn pension after retirement. To be eligible for pension, they must contribute for minimum 10 years. Then they can start their pension after 58 years of age. If they do not complete 10 years of service, they can withdraw the amount accumulated in EPS. The amount accumulated in EPS does not bear any interest. This you must remember. In case of death of an EPS member or EPS pensioner, lifelong pension is also given to dependents' family. But there is a major issue. As of making this video, a member can get maximum 7,500 rupees as pension, which is nothing. Hence, do not rely solely on EPS. Have some alternate pension plan as well. One personal recommendation. If you are taking full and final settlement, don't withdraw your EPS amount because it will act as a term insurance. In case something happens to you, your family will get lifelong pension. अगर पैसा निकाल दिया तो वो तो वेस्ट ही हो जाएगा ना. Last, Employee Deposit Linked Insurance or EDLI provides life insurance covers to all working PF member. Note the word working. In case of death of a member, for whatever reason, his dependent family gets a lump sum compensation, minimum 2.5 lakh and up to 7 lakh.
Yeah, it's all sunshine and rainbows. But do you know how difficult it is to withdraw your own money from EPF?
Well, not anymore. In last few years, IT infrastructure of EPFO has improved a lot. The most significant improvement is allotment of UAN or Unified Account Number. This number is allotted to each PF member. UAN works as an umbrella account under which all present and past employment are clubbed. Using UAN, member can log into member portal and avail various services such as reviewing passbook, applying for advance, applying for pension, adding nominee, etc. And in all these, they do not need to take permission of their employer. If you want to know more about employee services, comment below. I will make a dedicated video on all.
So let me get this straight. Are all companies covered under EPF?
The PF Act applies to all of India, even Jammu and Kashmir now. Schedule 1 of PF Act specifies type of factories and establishments that are covered under Act. There is one major exception. Establishment having employee strength less than 20 are exempted. Companies must take PF registrations once they cross 20 employees. After registration, every company gets a unique PF code. Once they register, even if employee strength falls below 20, compliances must be done. Companies having less than 20 employees can do voluntary registration. For theatres and cooperative societies, this limit of 20 is slightly different. Now let's talk about eligibility for employees. For this section, I am assuming that the establishment is covered under PF because if establishment is not covered, all the employees are obviously exempted. For ensuring coverage of low salaried employees, government notifies a ceiling wage. Right now, this ceiling PF wage is 15,000. Employees having PF wage less than 15,000 must be covered in PF.
Hey, I get wage, not PF wage. What the hell is PF wage?
Well, PF does not apply on all wages. It applies only on PF wage. PF wage includes component like basic, DA, all these allowances which are universally, necessarily and ordinarily given to all employees. Allowances such as HRA, overtime, bonus and other similar allowances are explicitly excluded from PF Act. That means if an employee's gross rate is 20,000 but his basic rate is 14,000, then he must be covered under PF. Employee having salary above 15,000 can also become PF member with consent of their employer. They can choose to contribute on ceiling wage of 15,000 or even on full salary above 15,000.
But I'm here to grow. What if my salary crosses 15,000? What will happen then?
Sadly, nothing can be done. Once a member, always a member. To opt out, you literally have to leave your job, take full and final settlement, then probably you can opt out in next job if joined above 15,000 or ceiling wage. Now, as promised, let me share a couple of peculiar rules which are included in PF Act in 2014. After September 2014, if an employee joins PF having salary higher than 15,000, then he cannot become a member of employees pension scheme. All his contribution will be diverted only towards EPF. Also, for newly joined employees, EPFO had put a cap of 1250 rupees on pension contribution. This limits maximum pension to just 7,500. Obviously, this made many #Jagruk employers very angry. Hence, a lot of cases are filed in various courts, and we will update you what is the status on LLA English.
Whoa! Thank you so much, Rishabh sir. I have subscribed LLA English now, and I've also pressed the bell icon. And it's a loss for anyone who doesn't.
So, if you are from HR or payroll field, I have a very important announcement for you. We have launched a course A to Z of payroll processing. In this 46 lecture course, I have taught detailed calculation of every single act such as PF, ESI, gratuity, bonus, TDS, professional tax, you name it. In the same course, we will also do complete payroll calculation of various companies. We have been doing this since last 42 years. I am confident that after doing this course, you can start your own consultancy or even get a job as payroll professional. So in this video, I have summarized basics of PF. In part 2 of this video, we will talk about PF contribution rates, its calculation, and will also do various working examples. If that video is already updated, you can see that in cards. That's it for today, guys. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.